Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack some really complex ideas, help you get truly well informed. And today, we're exploring a pretty compelling set of prophecies. They describe this vision of world purification, transformation. It's quite a journey into a future that's presented as, well, challenging, but also, uh, within the context of these sources, ultimately hopeful. Our main sources for this deep dive are, honestly, quite powerful. We've got excerpts from a text, A Glimpse into the World's Purification by Adam Skwarczyński. This shares the visions of a Polish man named Piotr, very detailed stuff. And we're also pulling insights from an interview with Adam Skwarczyński himself. It's from a YouTube video called Widziałem nowy świat, which means I saw a new world. So our mission really is to navigate these intense processes. We want to pull out the key nuggets of knowledge, the insights about what might be coming, and maybe most importantly, what they suggest about preparing, personally and as communities.
Yeah, and it's really important to frame this correctly from the start. This isn't presented as like fixed dogma that absolutely will happen exactly this way. Adam himself really stresses that this should be seen as a prophetic warning. He underlines that divine plans, while they're influenced, maybe even profoundly, by how we humans respond to events as they unfold, our actions, especially our spiritual ones, they matter. A lot.
Okay, that's a crucial distinction. So to really get into these prophecies, we need to start with the people behind them.
Yeah.
Who are Piotr and Adam? What makes their connection to all this so, well, compelling?
Right. Piotr is described as a middle-aged Polish man, pretty well situated in life. Adam Skwarczyński felt, compelled, almost obligated to share and comment on Piotr's deep spiritual visions. And what makes Piotr's experience stand out is that some of his knowledge was apparently verified in kind of surprising ways. Like the source mentions, he instantly recognized Adam's old family home as the forge of Adam's vocation, a detail he just shouldn't have known.
Interesting. Like a validation.
Exactly. And then there's Adam Skwarczyński himself, the one sharing and contextualizing these visions. His background is quite fascinating, too. His family home east of Warsaw, that's where he reportedly had prophetic visions himself, right from childhood, claims he learned his whole future life there in detail. Academically, he got a doctorate in theology. His focus was on Marian and Holy Spirit eschatology, basically, the study of end times, focusing on Mary's role in the Holy Spirit.
Okay, so eschatology, the end times.
Yeah.
That fits.
Absolutely. And this background is key because he connects these ideas to people like St. Maximilian Kolbe, who foresaw a triumph of the Immaculate Heart, which is essentially about profound spiritual purification, and also to the Orthodox theologian Sergius Bulgakov, who talked about a new era of the Holy Spirit. These aren't just footnotes. They're really central to the whole transformation theme in the visions. And today, Adam runs a spiritual counseling service right from that same home.
Wow, okay. That definitely provides a strong foundation for this material. And his view on the end times, it seems a bit different from the standard picture, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. He makes a distinction between two comings of Christ, not just the single final one that leads straight into the Last Judgment. He apparently draws parallels to how John Paul II interpreted the Fatima prophecies. According to the source material, this interpretation included a period of really intense purification through martyrdom. John Paul II supposedly indicated millions would die from minute to minute, and the living would envy the dead.
That's intense.
Very. So it suggests a period of major tribulation before the absolute final end, which challenges that common idea of an immediate last judgment right after Christ's return.
Okay, so following this prophetic timeline then, the unraveling, it starts kind of quietly. The first signs are apparently expected in autumn, described as a sort of gentle start to global financial market instability.
Yes, that initial instability. But then it's detailed as well, quickly followed by more serious bank issues, and then a severe conflict erupts, specifically between Israel and Islamists.
Right, and that's where the chaos really picks up speed. This Middle East conflict, it doesn't stay contained, does it? It spills over. The vision says Muslims take up arms across Europe. It even mentions specific things like bloodshed in France and Germany, a burning church in Germany, something like a night of knives. Sounds like sudden, brutal, organized attacks.
It does, and there's this incredibly specific detail included, almost like a timestamp from the vision. It describes August 14th, 2018, Polish soldiers at the German border encountering bands of Muslims, feeling alone and terrified before some kind of divine intervention reportedly pushed the attackers back.
Wow, so really vivid imagery.
Extremely. But then this intense phase is described as being frozen by some unseen force. It doesn't just continue escalating indefinitely at that point. And significantly, this period sees a lot of people turning back to prayer, a direct spiritual reaction to the fear and chaos.
Okay, so that initial shock has a spiritual consequence.
Yes. And connecting this to, practical takeaways for us, for the listener. K.S. Adam emphasizes a pretty clear warning. Don't rely on the current financial systems. He suggests repaying loans is a good idea because it might become impossible later. And any extra money, use it for spiritual purposes. Love of God, love of neighbor, because, according to the vision, it's going to be lost anyway. It's a call for spiritual detachment from material wealth.
That immediate return to church you mentioned, that's a powerful image. People frightened, seeking solace. I think the source mentioned a voice during Mass in April 2018 saying churches would fill up quickly.
Yes, that's right. A direct spiritual response.
And right after that spiritual shift, the visions describe something else. A completely physical event, an astronomical object appearing in the sky.
Exactly. Something in the sky that most people will just dismiss. Oh, it's a comet or whatever. Natural phenomenon. But a few, the discerning ones, will recognize it as a warning, a sign from heaven.
Okay, a heavenly sign. And then what? The conflicts that were frozen, they restart.
They reignite, yes, and escalate into what's called a terrible war. The source points to China, hit hard by the financial crisis, as a kind of catalyst, and it mentions Russia and the USA being particularly affected.
But the war is seen as futile.
Ultimately, yes. Despite its intensity, the sense is that it achieves nothing lasting, just more destruction.
And the consequences sound dire. Complete collapse of banking, severe food shortages, just immense confusion everywhere.
Pretty bleak. The vision states that at that point, only divine grace can save those who are chosen. It's beyond human control.
Okay, so after all that war and collapse, what comes next? A kind of peace.
Sort of. It's described as a great artificial peace, imposed, it seems, under a one-world government. This government is even said to help the Jewish people get the territory they need to start rebuilding the great temple in Jerusalem.
Right, the rebuilding of the temple. That's a significant marker in many prophecies. And the banking collapse.
Yeah.
How is that addressed in this vision?
With a proposed solution, a single new superbank. And alongside that, the introduction of chips for payment.
Ah, the chips. That always comes up.
It does. And the source is clear here. Those who refuse the system, mainly Christians, seeing it as the mark of the beast, they'll be pushed to the margins, unable to buy or sell, persecuted.
So does K.S. Adam mean any chip like the ones discussed today?
He clarifies that. He says the true chips, the ones that really matter in this context, aren't the concern right now. But he warns, if this future Antichrist government does impose such a sign of submission, a symbol of loyalty to its system, then a defiant no is absolutely required, even if it means hunger, poverty, risking salvation itself by complying.
So it's about the act of submission, not just the technology.
Exactly. It's a spiritual stand. He stresses the need for immense patience and courage and trying to see God's love even in the midst of these terrible trials.
And leading this one world government, the vision identifies the Antichrist himself.
Yes. His ultimate goal, according to the text, is to eradicate God once and for all. This forces the faithful underground, hiding the Eucharist, hiding loyal priests, because a false church will apparently arise to deceive people.
The false church. That's chilling.
It is. And many will become martyrs of blood during this time. It really highlights the need for spiritual discernment, for courage when deception is everywhere.
Wow. Okay, so at this lowest point, with the Antichrist seemingly in control, that's when God intervenes directly.
That's the sequence, yes. It's described as a small judgment or an illumination of conscience. It's known as the warning, or Aviso in some traditions, and it's stressed that this is a deeply individual experience. It's not the final, last judgment.
An individual illumination of conscience for everyone.
Everyone. It's said to be preceded by some final signs, including the conversion of the Jewish people. K.S. Adam himself reportedly had a similar experience, a kind of particular judgment, back in the early 80s. The Aviso itself is described in two stages. First, everyone, even atheists, agnostics, will see Christ in his majestic beauty, though it's veiled somehow. And immediately after that, they get a complete review of their entire life, everything since the age of reason around age 7, like a film playing back.
Good grief. The impact must be staggering.
Profound. For those who are prepared, living in grace, they'll feel sadness over their sins and imperfections, sure. But mainly, they'll be strengthened, spurred on to do better, to work harder spiritually.
But for others?
For those living without God or actively hostile towards Him, seeing the pure truth of their lives, their choices, their rejection of love, and seeing God not as He is, but through their own distorted lens, perhaps seeing Him as cruel, the shock will be immense. The vision says millions will actually die from the sheer horror and shock of that revelation.
Millions die from seeing their own lives.
Yeah.
That's hard to imagine.
It is, and the remaining population, those who survive the warning, they apparently split. Some become true penitents, others might convert initially out of fear, perhaps, but they don't persevere. And that gives Satan an opening to return and tempt them again, even harder.
So the warning isn't a magic fix for everyone.
Not automatically, no. It clarifies, but the response is still key.
But then there's the miracle, about a year later.
Yes, roughly a year after the warning. This is described as another, more outward divine intervention. It's compared to the pillar of cloud and fire that guided the Israelites in the desert. Something visible, tangible. The source says this miracle will visibly touch the earth in specific places associated with Marian apparitions, like Garabandal and Medjugorje.
Like a physical sign.
A physical sign, yes, acting as a kind of finger of God, a final, powerful ultimatum for humanity. Convert now. Those who ignore this sign after the warning will be taken from the kingdom. It's presented as a last chance.
Given all this, the warning, the miracle, the preceding chaos, personal preparation seems absolutely critical. The sources really stress the idea of a general confession, don't they? But it sounds like more than just listing sins.
Much more. It's framed as a full life review, a deep dive into your own soul, designed to fundamentally reorient yourself towards God. Think of it like a spiritual reset, a deep clean. It's about genuine sorrow for offending Christ, not just regret for getting caught or suffering consequences.
So it's about strengthening your spiritual core, becoming resilient.
Exactly. Shedding that spiritual baggage so you're light, agile, ready for whatever comes. The world might be collapsing, but your soul is prepared. And the conditions mentioned are key for it to be effective. A strong resolve to change. Being honest about all serious sins, hiding one invalidates it. Sincere sorrow, making amends where possible, forgiving others completely, and asking forgiveness yourself.
Right, that makes sense. It's a whole process.
It really is. It's presented as the primary way to get ready.
Okay, so after the miracle, does the Antichrist just give up?
Not according to the vision. Seeing his defeat coming, he apparently unleashes a final, desperate fury of destruction. This is aimed specifically at the faithful clergy and religious, a last-ditch effort, a final wave of persecution.
So more martyrdom.
It seems so, a final, intense persecution.
Then the big one, the cataclysms.
Then comes the cosmic catastrophe. God reveals an object described as a meteorite or asteroid that appears suddenly, strikes the Earth. For most people, the realization dawns.
It's too late to prepare now.
And the impact itself causes the Earth to spin faster, apparently. Leads to massive storms, earthquakes, maybe even a shift in the planet's orbit. Fire rains down, the Earth cracks open, swallowing homes, villages, entire cities. Volcanoes erupt, spewing ash, causing massive floods. Case, Adam actually recounts experiencing a powerful earthquake in his home during one of these visions. He also described seeing the northern hemisphere from above convulsing with wars, possibly nuclear wars, giving the impression it might just cease to exist.
Unimaginable destruction.
Truly. And following these cataclysms comes the 3 days of darkness.
Ah, yes, the 3 days of darkness. That appears in other prophecies, too. Caused by volcanic dust, maybe?
That's the speculation, yes. Volcanic dust blocking out all light. And during this time, the vision says demons will be audibly walking the earth. A terrifying thought.
What are the faithful supposed to do?
Hide and pray. Stay inside. Pray continuously. Cases, Adam mentioned experiencing this particular vision as a child, the terror of it.
And after the darkness lifts?
The new world. A transformed earth emerges. Cases, Adam described seeing it through a window in his vision. New seas, new mountains, a different kind of light. But very few people left.
Who remains?
Only those who are fully converted, who are living according to Jesus' teachings, totally surrendered to God's will. Their primary role, it seems, is to pray for the souls still in purgatory.
So a purified remnant.
Essentially, yes, living in this transformed world.
And what's this new world like? You mentioned transformation.
It's described as a kingdom of the Spirit. God's presence isn't just an abstract idea, it actively changes nature itself, makes it friendly, fruitful, harmonious. The source uses the example of Almalonga in Guatemala, a real town in our world, as a kind of foreshadowing. A town reportedly transformed by intense community prayer. Prisons emptied, the land became incredibly fertile, producing giant vegetables.
Wow, so prayer physically changing reality.
That's the idea presented, yes. A glimpse of how spirit could reorder matter. Casus Adam even envisioned his own garden in this new world, blooming with unknown, exotic, maybe Mediterranean-type fruits.
So the essence of it is matter infused with spirit.
Beautifully put. the illumination of matter by spirit. Physical reality radiating this powerful, luminous, joyous spirit, a piece of heaven on earth. Like heaven itself isn't lit by a sun, but by the spirit of love pervading everything.
That's a stunning vision. And Poland's role in this, there's that quote.
Ah, yes, very important. From Poland, a spark will emerge, preparing the world for my final coming. This spark isn't political or military. It refers to the work of spiritual preparation, evangelization, a kind of spiritual leadership role in this renewal.
Which brings us back to preparation, but on a deeper level now. This call to heroic living.
Exactly. P. Hass's Adam is quite direct about this. He emphasizes that martyrdom shouldn't be feared, but actually desired as a great gift. Why? Because it leads to immense glory in heaven. He even anticipates his own martyrdom, saying his death is more needed by God than his life to inspire others.
That's a profound level of self-offering.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it connects to this concept of souls of sacrifice, or earthly angels of the edge. These are individuals who consciously offer up their daily struggles, their crosses, even their whole lives, uniting them with Christ's sacrifice on the cross, specifically for the salvation of others, especially for those who might be caught unprepared by the warning, those on the brink of being lost forever. It's powerful intercession.
Offering your life for others' salvation.
Yes. And there's this incredible message Mary supposedly gave directly to Case Adam. Ask God for everything, meaning don't just pray for your family or your parish, pray for the conversion of billions. Ask big because God's grace is infinite, inexhaustible.
Wow. Ask for everything. Billions.
It challenges our limited thinking about what prayer can achieve.
And besides individual sacrifice and prayer, there's a call for community action, too. The rosary.
Yes, a very practical call. Organize a continuous rosary chain day and night in parishes. Why? As a protective weapon. To shield priests who, the vision says, will be scarce and hunted, and to protect churches from satanic attacks during these times. It's about building a spiritual fortress through constant communal prayer.
Okay. So, wrapping our heads around all this, what does it all mean for us listening now? We've journeyed through this really intense prophetic vision, from that initial turmoil, the wars, the financial collapse, through the divine interventions of the warning and the miracle, all the way to the cataclysms, and then this promise of a totally transformed new world.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot to process, isn't it? The sheer scale is just immense.
It really is. And what I find compelling, or maybe most thought-provoking, is that interplay we talked about earlier between the divine prophecy, the warnings, and our human free will. This idea that our responses, prayer, conversions, sacrifice, how we live our lives now, can actually influence how these events unfold. It's not just a movie we watch. It's presented as a call to action, an invitation to participate spiritually in the world's destiny.
Right, it's not passive. And here's what would be a really interesting thought to chew on. Could it be that the ultimate arc of survival isn't a physical bunker somewhere, but a deeply prepared heart, a heart willing to offer itself, like those souls of sacrifice, for the spiritual good of everyone else, being part of that spark yourself?
That definitely turns the usual survivalist idea on its head, doesn't it? It shifts the focus entirely inward, towards spiritual readiness, and outward, towards love and sacrifice for others, which raises that important question for you, the listener, doesn't it? How might you personally embrace this call to, well, heroic living, really? How might you become part of that spark, preparing hearts your own and others for whatever profound changes might lie ahead? Not just for your own sake, but maybe thinking bigger, for those 7 billion souls sharing the planet with us.
Yeah. What stands out to you as you reflect on this deep dive, this journey through purification and the promise of a transformed world? Lots to think about. Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.